Okay, so we have Digital Notice Media Lab, and it is a premium media agency offering a hub of top-notch media services for blockchain technology-related platforms in India. And also, CSIT Association of Nepal is a not-for-profitable social organization for CSIT students that acts as a bridge between the faculty, students, and industries in Nepal. Also, talking about Prime IT Club, it is a student club dedicated to empower IT students, IT and IT knowledge. And lastly, talking about the INI cinemas, it has been operating for 4 years and it is located in Kathmandu's Lotse Mall in Gongabu Gosport, and it will soon be opening in a new location at New Baneshwar Multiplex Complex. And they are also located outside of the valley at Butwal and as Cineplex movies in Pokhara and Chitwan. Now, without any delay, I would like to move on to our meetup, which is themed as Ethereum Enterprise. And the main goal of this meetup is to bring together professionals and enthusiasts who are interested in using Ethereum Enterprise for enterprise applications and solutions. It is a platform for attendees to learn about the latest developments in Ethereum Enterprise and sharing ideas and network with others in the field. So Isate has in the meet this blockchain meetup 35 to be centered around these ideas in order to draw attention to the initiations and to obtain accurate information from the industry experts. And we will also keep the floor open for the healthy discussions with your questions at the end of the event. So we have separated 15 minutes time for each of our speakers. And if you have any queries and questions, you can just write them down in the chat box below, and we shall discuss it at the end of the event. So we are also going live through our ESOTE Facebook page, and we will be it will also be shared by our supportive partners Facebook page, and you could also share it with your friends, and they can also so that your friends can also be a part of our meetup. And we shall be collecting questions from the comments from the Facebook Live as well. And without any further ado, let me begin our meetup with our first speaker, Mohammed Soeb. So talking about him, he's a CEO and co-founder of Digital Notice Media Lab, which is Northeast India's first and only blockchain media agency. And he's an avid keynote speaker, blockchain educator, Web3 developer, entrepreneur, influencer, YouTuber, and technology futurist. And with over 6 years of experience in the field of blockchain technology, he leaves the audience entertained, educated, and inspired. So I would like to welcome Mr. Mohammed Soeb. So you can take over now. So I guess you are muted.
Yeah, yeah. Am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, E. Satya. And thank you, Amina, for such a wonderful uh, introduction. So, before getting to Ethereum Enterprise, I would say that we should be actually know about what exactly blockchain is. So I'm not going to talk about what exactly blockchain is and how it works. I assume that you guys know it very well, what exactly blockchain is, how the things work in a blockchain. But when we talk about blockchain, the thing that comes to our mind, the terms that are in our mind are basically decentralization and a public network, most of the time. And I feel that most often people, what they do is they confuse the term decentralized with public network. Whenever someone is talking about blockchain, everyone says it has to be a public network, but it's not the case. Blocks, a decentralized network can be both a public network as well as a private network. So let's get into it. So on the screen, as you can see on the left graphic, that is a decentralized approach, and on the right side it's sorry, on the left side it's in the left graphic it is a centralized network approach, and in the right side graphic you can see it's a decentralized approach. So what exactly is happening in the centralized approach is, as you all already know, that we have a single point of decision making and all the other peers are following those things. And either we could talk about in terms of communication, we can talk about in terms of data storage, everything is being taken care at this point, at the top. Whereas on the right side, where we see a decentralized approach, what exactly is happening there, different nodes are connected to each other and they are storing a copy of data each. That's a distributed approach, and all the peers are connected to these nodes, which and they are forming a decentralized. Now there are there is a difference between both these networks is, earlier when we used to work in any of the industry, uh, all the approach that we were using were centralized approaches. Now we are moving towards the decentralized approaches. Now let's talk about the types of blockchain. You already know what blockchain is. I'm trying to say what exactly are types of blockchain. So we have a public and a private and a hybrid and a consortium. Four types of blockchain, roughly. Maybe we could categorize into furthermore like public permission and public permissionless as well. But I don't want to go that deep, but we'll categorize into the just four parts, that is public, private, hybrid, and consortium. Now, what exactly is happening? You must be aware of the Ethereum network. You must be aware of Bitcoin, Ethereum. So they are permissionless. What exactly is a permissionless? Let's get back to the previous slide where what exactly is happening. On the right graphics, you see. Now, in this decentralized approach, say for example, everyone, this is a public and open network where everyone can join anonymously. They don't have to reveal their identity, and they do not need any permission because it's a permissionless blockchain, and anyone, any peer can actually join this network, and that is why we're calling it permissionless. You don't have to reveal the identity. That is why it is anonymous, and that is how this network keeps on expanding and expanding and expanding. And on the other hand, in the private network, what exactly is happening? You set up some sort of commands to the network, like you can control the network, where you have done is that whoever wants to join that particular network, he needs a certain sort of permission, and he needs to reveal the identity. So every single node, like there are three nodes in these in the decentralized network, and every single node knows who other nodes is. But in case of public network, what exactly was the same was it was permissionless. Everyone was joining it, and it was everyone was joining it anonymously. But here, what exactly is happening? Everyone is all the nodes are known to each other. They need a certain sort of permission to join that network. Now, what exactly is the difference between why, when I'm talking about say for example, if I have a company and I want to shift from the centralized version of my all the system that I've been using till date to the decentralized version. So how do I finalize that to what sort of network I'll be using when I'll be shifting my entire system to the blockchain? So here is the question. When we were using centralized approach, what we were relying on, what we were witnessing was great speed. There was no issue of scalability. There was no uh, uh, issue of speed. There was no issue of security in centralized. The only thing was that it was centralized, and that was to some extent a problem for that. And now when I wanted to shift to a decentralized approach, now I'll be looking for the same things what I was actually having a leverage in the centralized approach. So I'll be choosing if I decide to shift to a blockchain network, then what exactly I'll be looking for my organization, that whatever the transactions are going on in my organization, they should speed up, of course, and they should no issue there should be no issue of scalability, and there should not be an issue of trust again. So now when we are talking about public network, let's just talk about the Ethereum public network, Ethereum mainnet. What exactly is happening? We know that it is a independent network. There is a lot of transparency. There is a lot of trust, because trust comes with blockchain. Transparency is every single transaction is being on the blockchain, and anyone from anywhere in the world can access this transaction. And when we talk about independence, the first 3 points I'm talking about the advantages of it. So it is that anyone can join it anonymously. But what a blockchain lacks in, a public network lacks, is the disadvantages. We'll see a low in it will the performance is not going to be that great. There is always an issue of scalability. We've seen a lot of scalability issue with Bitcoin. We've seen a lot of scalability issue with Ethereum itself. Securities on the other hand, they could be, because every single node is uh, uh, anonymous, so we're not sure about who we are sharing the data with. And now, when we talk about the private or the permission blockchain, what exactly is happening? Access control. We do have access control because we know who the nodes are. Performance becomes great because it's a closed network. So it's not going to be a very, very large. So that could be is one of the advantages of private network. Trust, again, you lose a factor of trust here, but to some extent you are losing it, but not that. And these are the advantages and disadvantages of public and private thing. Now let's now what exactly Ethereum Enterprise is. So Ethereum Enterprises is nothing but a private version of Ethereum blockchain, and that is tailored to work within a enterprise or organization. So I'll give you just an example. Say, for example, if you talk about any big company, let's just take an example of Tata Industries. I suppose that's a good example. That will be a good example. And Tata deals in a lot of different sectors. And what Tata is planning to do is, say, for example, they wanted to come up with uh, a network that could help them track to transact between different sectors, and all those transactions should be stored on their blockchain, their dedicated blockchain. So they wanted to bring up the, like, say, for example, a decentralized network in their organization, but there is no point that Tata wants anyone else to view those transactions, or whatever the transaction between the different sectors of a company or organizations are happening. They don't want to share them with the public, general public. So there's no sense of sharing the data with the audience, and there's no sense of audience asking for that sort of data, because that kind of a data is some sort of internal transactions of that particular company. So in this case, Tata, rather than going for a public blockchain, using and building an app on a public blockchain, it would be better for them to choose a private version of that thing that could work inside their like the organization. So we can for a very similar kind of example, we can just like talk about the internet and intranet. So internet is like networks of network where everyone is connected, and whatever you posting on internet is actually accessible to other people who are in that or who are connected to that, like who have access to internet. But when you are talking about intranet, so the things are within the remain the network is within a building, and every transaction that's being taking place in that particular building, it's not going out. So similarly, that's some sort of an example. So similarly, like if Tata wants to shift the entire system from a decentralized thing, because to the centralized, sorry, to a decentralized version, from a centralized to a decentralized version, they'll of course have to pick up some sort of they'll have to decide whether they need to go public or they a private network. So there is no point of them choosing a public like Ethereum network, because they don't want to post every single transactions on Ethereum network. That is one of the thing. The second most important thing is that whenever you are using Ethereum's mainnet or the Ethereum public network, every transaction you doing on that, you need a gas fees for that. Again, maybe it could be cost effective in terms of when there are less number of transactions, but when you're talking about large number of transactions, say for example, you're dealing with like thousands of transactions every single day. So working on a public network on Ethereum's mainnet is not feasible, because you'll be paying a lot of fees uh, in uh, uh, in in those transactions. Whereas when you come up with a private version of Ethereum blockchain, that is the Ethereum Enterprise. So you will be taking care of your own servers, where you'll not be paying any of the. You'll be using all the features of Ethereum network, but in a closed room kind of a thing, where all the servers belong to you, every single thing, all the devices are yours. So it's not actually public. So in terms of cost, when we talk about the prices, prices are for a company to use mainnet. So uh, this is what exactly Ethereum enterprise is. Let's get back once again to the previous, and let's discuss about the hybrid and the consortium thing. So hybrid is a kind of a mix structure of both, as the name suggests, and consortium again is a very small groups. So maybe in the next our next speaker will be telling you about a lot of use cases of Ethereum enterprises, but I'll disclose I'll give you some one or two examples right now. Like when we talk about the banks coming up with some sort of they wanted to shift they to the they want to use blockchain technology. So the best for them will be to come up with a consortium kind of thing. So because when I'm talking about India, there are just 19 nationalized banks, and so of course if they wanted to build a network amongst themselves, so it's more like a consortium thing where everyone can discuss amongst them. On the other hand, if you are willing to, if you are such kind of an organization where you wanted to come up with some sort of things, you wanted to keep a few things private and a few things public, and when you facing a lot of scalability issues, then hybrid will be some sort of a very best option for you. So some of the key features of Ethereum enterprises are, so I've given you the detail of what exactly public network is, a private network is. Why we are going for a private network? Because it helps at certain points. And the very first thing is privacy, because we know each and every single node is known to each other. It's permission accessed. uh, you can of course run smart contracts could be run on both, and interoperability. So that could be the third and fourth could be achieved in the public network as well. But the major two ones in the are the privacy and permission access, because here you don't want to disclose your data, the company's data, with anyone else. So that's one of the thing. Apart from that, of course, I missed out one of the point, that is the speed, transaction speed, the performance. I mean, the performance could be much better as of Ethereum Enterprise as compared to the Ethereum mainnet. Some of the organizations that are already doing a good job, and they're working with like Ethereum on Ethereum Enterprises is Ethereum Enterprise Alliance. So they've been in the market for a few years. Hyperledger is another one, and Hyperledger was they you can see we've seen a lot of projects coming up. A lot of organization has already used Hyperledger for their in-house uh, these things. I mean, so Hyperledger is being used by a lot of companies. That's what I think. And so these are the major two who are already working on Ethereum Enterprises, and they're working very in like quite closely with Ethereum. Apart from that, there are some other uh, protocol and infrastructures. I have not used them personally, but I put them in this slide, so maybe it could be helpful for you guys. So chain stack is a multi-cloud and multi-platform, multi-protocol platform, and so it's helping businesses. Apart from that, we've already discussed Hyperledger. So Hyperledger has two versions. That's the Peso and Burrow, and Quorum is another one, a very famous one. Quorum and Hyperledger are the two protocols that's a lot of people are actually already using it. So that's it. I guess that was about Ethereum Enterprises and why do we need Ethereum Enterprises instead of the Ethereum mainnet. So maybe we'll have a question answer session later after the second speakers finish up with this. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Shoaib, and we really appreciate you sharing this useful information on this topic. And we'll surely go to this question answer round at the end of this session. Now we'll be moving on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Mr. Richin Singh, who is the co-founder of Isate and managing director at Runson. And talking about him, he has extensive experience in starting new ventures in Nepal ecosystem, and he regularly conducts workshops on business model canvas for Nepali entrepreneurs and is currently researching and promoting blockchain technology in Nepal through Isapte. And you can just take over now, Richindi.
Okay, thank you, Amina. So thank you. I would like, after my session, I would love to understand more about how the Indian ecosystem on this Ethereum enterprise has been going, because that's one thing, as we discussed previously also, I wanted to learn more on that, and maybe our audience here in Nepal also wants to understand what's happening in India as well. So maybe that could be the conversation we can have after I finish my session, if that's okay. Okay. Yeah, okay, great. So moving on. So thank you, Amina, for wonderful introduction. So I've been involved in blockchain for past 4 years, and there are a few things I wanted to maybe highlight on why we are going into the private blockchain. One of the major reason our company was focusing on the private blockchain was it was kind of the legal necessity, because as you know, in Nepal, the first thing is, even though we are researching more on the public network, public blockchains, one of the major things that happened in 2017-18 was we had a crypto ban. And most of the products that we were building or we wanted to build on Nepal, it had to be it shouldn't be in crypto. So that was one of the reasons that our developers were focusing more on private blockchain, as we are trying to focus our product that was Nepal friendly as well. So that is one of the reasons. But there are other reasons, like Soeb also mentioned, because of its like various aspects. Those are the also reasons. As we moved along, we found out it made sense for certain products that we are building, and I would like to maybe discuss a few things on that, and maybe give you an idea on how we have been like navigating our journey through this private Ethereum network. So, okay. So, like I said, one of the main thing that we used crypto was because of crypto legality. That was how we started. But we also wanted to work on Ethereum, like enterprise Ethereum, because in the future, if you wanted to like maybe scale our product globally into other crypto-friendly countries, that was one of the reason like we could bridge back to the mainnet, because having that copy of Ethereum and moving back to the mainnet would be easy for the developers. So because of that consistency of the stack, it was one of the reasons that we were also choosing the Ethereum, the ecosystem, because of the community, because of how we can like go back to the mainnet if need be. So, but what we also learned was the private Ethereum or the enterprise Ethereum also gave the governance, confidentiality, the security, all the good flavors that Ethereum had could be kind of translated into the private blockchain as well. Not the 100%, but 80, 50, 60, 70, 80%, whatever the amount, like we could get those flavors of Ethereum in our private chain as well. So let me give you a few examples. So one of the the product that we are making or have made with UNICEF is Rahat. So Rahat is basically a cash distribution, a digital token distribution system. So if you think about it, we could have used crypto to directly give digital tokens or like crypto tokens to the beneficiaries who could actually have this liquid coin and buy stuff. And this could be actually like all the transaction can be maybe like seen in the public network as well. There are tools like Cello and all who works in this relief-based area. But because again, we had to work with the private blockchain, the crypto legality, we started working, made our copy of Ethereum clone, and then we started working on this. So there were a few changes that we made. So let me discuss. So in this, what we found out was initially we don't need kind of a like Soeb said, like decentralized could be can be achieved in a private network as well. We don't need a kind of a public network to have a decentralization, because for example, in this project, there are 5 or 6 stakeholders like UNICEF, Nepal, UNICEF office of like New York. They are like local government bodies, and we ourselves, we are the node holders. And then we kind of like through like consensus mechanism we use is proof of authority. Through that we maintain and we do the settlement. So what we needed from that blockchain, the Ethereum, was the transaction settlement, the relief aid that we were given to the beneficiaries. How can we track it? So the tracking mechanism has already been done by Ethereum. Like all the transaction can be recorded in the blockchain. So through our this private chain, what we're doing was all the settlement that the beneficiaries and vendors that occurs within the ecosystem, that is visible to these 5 stakeholders and other like monitoring agencies. So these transactions are only available to the stakeholders, that is visible inside this closed ecosystem. And what is happening is, if we want to scale the system, what we are finding out is we don't need to like maybe go into a public chain right away. What we can do is we can add more stakeholders. Maybe let's say there are new agencies like Practical Actions coming in. Like let's say WFP is coming in. The other UN bodies are coming. They can become consortium members, and these consortium members can get them like give them the permission to join our ecosystem, and this ecosystem can grow, the consortium can grow. And this is what we are planning to do, and this is how we are planning to grow initially. And like one of the use cases is like we have like all the transaction can be as similar to Block Explorer. All the transaction can be seen in our system as well. All these members who are the member stakeholders can see this transaction through this private chain, and we're using the private network in this ecosystem as well. So if you want to learn more, you can go into rahat.io and their docs as well. It's an open source tool. If you want to like learn more how the system is working, you can like see more, and maybe if you have more technical questions, I can get you connected with our developers and maybe understand more in deeper how the system is working. So this is the business aspect on how one of our product that we have built is working on a kind of a consortium or private blockchain. So Ethereum network. Next, one of the projects that I cannot fully disclose, but what we're doing is interesting areas that we are working with a client is identity management. So decentralized identity and verifiable credentials are the next big thing that industries can use. So for example, Soeb also mentioned about banks. So one of the major things that banks need is KYC, the know your customer. And each bank has their own mechanism of managing this. So if we create an ecosystem or consortium where KYC of one bank can be used by the verified KYC can be used by another bank, it will reduce the inefficiency and the paperwork that is existing with the banks like in Nepal. So like in Nepal, if you open a bank account in like one bank, and if you go with another, you need to redo that whole process. But why not use maybe a blockchain? So in this, one thing is using a private blockchain, what we are doing is with the zero knowledge proof, what we can do is we can maintain the privacy of the users, and the verification proof, the sign can be used by other banks to know that, oh, the KYC has been verified. So this is something that we are doing, not exactly in the field of financial, but we are doing with like various like telecom industry, telco, and then transportation industry, how the cross-industry KYC or verification can be done, the inter-businesses verification can be done. So those part of like work we have been doing with like few of the clients, that's for the human. And one thing interesting is what we are also learning is as the automation is increasing, as IoT devices are increasing, these IoT devices will have their own identity as human beings, and they can become a signer in blockchain for like multi-sig signer. They can become a signer. They can execute smart contracts. They can sign smart contracts. So those things can happen. And this is one thing that we're also exploring with one of the projects in Rahat called anticipatory action. If the sensors, if they record maybe floods happening, or if something disastrous is like being recorded by certain sensors, then like precipitation, these kind of like, if sensors records this, then what we can do is we can execute a smart contract which can say, okay, this flood has occurred in this area, maybe release X amount of money to these beneficiaries of affected people. So this is one of the things that we are trying to work with the project that I previously mentioned, Rahat. So in this also we're using a private blockchain where we don't need to like use public blockchain and just like have that information. The private blockchain can do that decentralization. All those information can be done through that mechanism as well. And finally, just a thing that we tried proposing to our central banks here in Nepal, because central banks this year, previous year, they've been very interested in exploring blockchain technology, or most likely this central bank digital currency. And this is what we had proposed. So usually most of the banks, they are mostly interested with managing the individual's account, like giving them a wallet, the phone-based wallet where they can do the transaction. But what we are proposing also to these banks are do the wholesale central bank digital currency, which means every day, usually, or every week, or every night, the banks, they have their own ledger settlements. So they need to do the settlements with one another. So every banks they have their own settlement ledger. So why not have a shared blockchain ledger or shared ledger that can be used, which does the settlements for the banks? So for this also, they do not need an they will not need a public blockchain. they can work on a consortium, like mentioned by a previous speaker, where they can create a consortium blockchain and work on a tool that the blockchain will do the settlements, and these all multiple banks can use this settlements as a verification or auditable tool that can be done. So this is something we have proposed to our central banks as well. They are exploring multiple retail CBDC, wholesale CBDC, and how blockchain can be added, because most of the banks in Nepal still are a little bit hesitant with the blockchain technology because it's associated with the crypto. And this is why, again, I'm connecting to the initial part. We are trying to focus on crypto, and the technology can be separated, at least in the the private part, the permission part. We can permission blockchain part, the private blockchain part. We can kind of separate the technology with the actual crypto thing. And this is what we are trying to do, explore in Nepal, and do most of the use cases based on the private blockchain and the enterprise Ethereum. So these are the exploration that we are doing. These are the implementations that we are doing. And if you are interested to learn more, I'd be happy to maybe share with you all the resources that you want to understand on these technologies. And that's it, I think, from my side. So if you want more, you can look into the slides. You can email me, you can email my team, and you can ask questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing your insight on this topic, Ritinji. And I sincerely hope that everyone had the chance to learn about the topic and found it to be extremely helpful. And there's also a question in the chat box we've got, and I'd like to read it out for you guys. So
Okay.
We have the question which goes like this: how does the strict regulatory environment in Nepal, that is the ban of crypto in the country, affect other aspects of the blockchain and Web3, that is NFTs, tokenomics, the DAOs, etc.? And how does this affect your ability to organize, promote community events, and develop projects here? So would you like to answer?
So I think I could answer yes. So in Nepal, yes, the crypto ban has made it a little bit, if not impossible, but a little bit difficult for us to talk about what blockchain is, because people, I know it's very well, the blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies are connected somehow. But what we are trying to do is we are trying to demystify. At least we are having these kind of events, like meetups. We try to conduct meetups with regulatory bodies as well. We have those regular events. So it's been a little journey, has been a little bit difficult, but we are trying to also teach people through things like Ethereum Enterprise, where we can work with the blockchain technology without the investment part or the speculation part of the cryptocurrencies. So that is where we are trying to at least convince at least the government agencies, the private agencies, to move towards the blockchain technology and explore this technology. And it has been difficult because they are kind of hesitant to do POCs, and most of the work, that's why what we are focusing on is not with the private agencies, but with the development agencies, like UNICEF and all. They are really interested to see how blockchain technology can bring about the changes. So we're trying to focus as and private entity who are working in Web3, focusing on those Web3 areas as well, with development agencies, if that answers the question. And so maybe I wanted ask you the questions I wanted. In India, there are sandbox environments, right? Where you talked about government focusing on land registry, and then there is banks who have created their own India chain link or something, India chain link. Can you little bit if you have idea on those, you talked about algorithms as well, we have in land registry. Maybe talk about those ideas, how India has been navigating. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Okay.
So you need to repeat it.
Yeah, sorry. So exactly, I'm not sure about where the project is headed right now, where they have reached, but the Indian banks, as I was in discussion with a lot of people, and the Indian banks were actually planning, all the 19 banks were planning to come up with the example you've already given in your presentation, the KYC thing, because India spends a lot of, because we have, we are the world most populous country, and there are a lot of people, and everyone needs a bank account for that, and a lot of people actually need multiple bank accounts, and for the KYC purpose only, India is spending like thousands of crores every single year if combined together. And to reduce that cost, the paper cost and all the manpower that's being involved in it, so they came up with the idea of coming up with a consortium of 19 nationalized bank, and where they could actually like share the verified documents of that particular customer with each other, if the customer is willing to open up an account with any other branch, any other bank as well. So that's the very same example. So they were already planning it, but due to some financial policy changes in the financial policy, because the 19 nationalized banks have reduced to, there was a sort of merger in India, if you are aware about the banking mergers. So maybe let's see in the future. And now the number of banks have reduced from 19 to 7 in India. And there was a great merger. Apart from that, Indian Postal Services, actually, they've already been working on bringing the whole setup on the blockchain, and they're working very closely with Algorand. The project is being actually outsourced to Algorand to build up that set. So it's basically like a supply chain kind of a thing, because when we talk about the postal services, tracking of the tracking and the data keeping and all it. So it's like a supply chain, and Algorand is very efficient actually in supply chain projects to build. Algorand is actually one of a great project that's makes it very easy and very helpful. So I guess that is one of the reason they've outsourced this to Algorand. And so maybe as a customer, we never knew what exactly is going behind the screens. So but actually blockchain is being used, and there are number of states in India as well who have actually started using blockchain for their keeping their land records. One of the very first one of them is Telangana, South India. It's a South Indian state, and they're using it to, because what actually are they doing is before putting up those land records in blockchain, what exactly was happening? A centralized server was used. So even though we shifted from the paperwork to the digitalization, but again we were using a centralized approach for that. And if, say for example, there was some sort of an influential person, and he wanted to he had a very good influence in any of the registry or revenue office. So maybe corruption is everywhere. I mean, in every office, and if an influential person can go and asks the officer to change a particular land record. So that was pretty much possible when we were dealing with the centralized approach. So all they had needed to do was to change the records in the system, and that's how the entire thing could be done. But they came up with the idea, the government came up with the idea after uh, like uh, land scams. They found out a lot of land scams where the links of the lands from the registry to registry, like when we apply for a loan, I'm not sure about what's the process of like the complete loan on a property in Assamese, but in Nepalese. But in India, what exactly happens is when we want to apply for a loan and when we are like giving a land for a mortgage, so banks looks for a 30-year of like record of that particular land. So it's yeah. So in Hindi, it's known as 30 sala, yani matlab a record of 30 years. Yeah. So a record of 30, that means every single, the chain of that property should actually be like matched with each other. So for the past 30 years, like I've purchased that particular land from someone. Now, who that person purchased it land from, so a land should have a clear record of previous 30 years. Then only bank will give you a loan on that, and bank will keep that like mortgage that particular land if the 30 years of record is clear. But blockchain is helping a lot in that, because blockchain is all about keeping it's about chain. So if I sell that land particular to someone, so now they're using that thing, and that next transaction that's being using is from the previous transaction that was my registry, and now I'm selling it to someone, so that transaction is being recorded. So now what could be done is, rather than going to the revenue department and searching of all the records from of 30 years, all those paper handwritten records, finding them is searching, and that was taking a lot of years. What could be done is, you can do that on a single click, and everything is verified on blockchain, and the complete chain of a record of 30 years, every single transaction, from which person, who was the seller, who was the buyer, and that's how you can actually get a verified record based on blockchain. So that's one of the
So
thing.
these are all like government supported projects, right? Most of them.
Yeah. It's not supported, but it's a project of the government itself.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So just wanted to add like the question, like not for like one of the questions that I had, like how we were navigating the Web3 space. So one of the questions I missed out was like Rumsan, we are an outsourcing company. We do Web3 work as well. So, but how we are navigating is for the Web3 projects, like we do need to work with crypto, but these are not Nepal-based projects. We work with like foreign companies. In that, how we do is we have like a company in US where they handle the crypto, and we manage it through Nepal. So we're trying to like keep the legality, because in the end, whatever business you do, you have to keep in mind the legality. So that is how we are also managing the Web3 space as well. So I think so. Yeah, but what we want is in Nepal also, we want the government to be a little bit like, we're trying like pushing the government, at least the departments, to explore and maybe create a small sandbox environment, or if that's not even possible, maybe create do a little bit of like maybe budget for POCs and just see how it works. Because most of the blockchain, it has been a promise, and because based on that promise, and if we don't try it, I think the one thing is we're going to miss out a lot. And we do want to like see what's happening in India, and that is what like the Nepali government or Nepali like the industry, the shadows, most of the part what happens in India. But in this part also, the blockchain, we are trying, as Isatya, trying to like maybe motivate government and the private agencies to look into this technology and invest a little more. So that is what we are focusing on.
Yeah, great. Yeah, we have similar sort of problems in India when it comes to crypto, I guess. Yeah. So because I've been running my company, Detail Notice Media Labs, we also dealing with a lot of similar things. What exactly you think, but we are mostly towards the education part. So we are running a Web3 community as well in the Northeast. So that's the first one. But when it comes to the crypto part, so there is a problem everywhere, and similarly, we are also redirecting the things, as you said, from US
Right.
and
Right.
Dubai, Middle East.
But I think the government should be open towards the enterprise Ethereum, the private blockchain, permission blockchain. Those are the part.
Yeah, government is open to that. Government is open. The government doesn't have any issues with that because
Right.
government is using it itself, and
Right.
government is actually. I have lot of examples like different states are using. Like started. I've given you the example of for the land records, and there is a like a campaign going on in Mumbai, I guess, if I'm not sure, that was based on Matic, like very similar to what you guys are doing in Rahat. So this
Right.
was the same sort of campaign that for the flood areas and
Okay.
yeah. So they are running on the Matic Polygon chain.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are a lot of projects like coming up in India as well. But of course, when it comes to because most of these projects are public
Right.
projects, and so they need a tokenization.
Right.
Um, and that's where they are facing a problem. I mean,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, so I think Amina just pinged me. We are like end of the, but I think we can continue this conversation maybe somewhere offline or maybe
Yeah.
through email. Like we can always continue that conversation. Amina, over to you.
So it was nice. It was great having you guys, and we also have one of us. Someone sent us in the chat box that they are also working on. He's also working on KYC and AML. So he wants to connect with G and want to explore the opportunities. I've sent both of the speakers' LinkedIn profile to you guys, so you can look after it. And now, since we are at the end of the meetup, and because of the limited time, we are extremely sorry that we cannot extend the meetup. And I hope you all enjoyed this meetup and got the chance to learn more on the topic, uh, Ethereum Enterprise, from our both speakers. And since we are finally at the end of the event, and our team would like to thank both of our speakers for spending so much time with us and sharing your wisdom. And once again, thanks to both of you for your valuable time in this meetup. And we're equally thankful for all our attendees for being here with us in this event. And I really hope to see you all again in our next meetup with a new and exciting theme. Also, since we are giving away movie tickets to lucky draw winners for the attendees of today's meetup, please stay updated from our Facebook and Insta stories, and we'll be posting the winners' name there this evening. And the lucky winners will get 2 tickets each, and they can go watch movie of their choice with their family and friends till the end of this month for from Monday to Thursday. And for that, please stay connected with us through our social media platforms, which we will mention below in the chat box. And for attending our next meetup, please do like and follow Isat's Facebook, Insta, Twitter, LinkedIn page. And meanwhile, you can also suggest us the next meetup topics on which you would like to hear from us. And with this, I just want to wrap up this meetup. Till then, have a great time and a good evening. And thank you once again to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. Bye bye.
thank you so